This is Sadie, who I'm going to give a treat to. There we go. And Sadie, we just got done taking a walk on. She's got some cortisol in her blood. Both of them are anxious and nervous. Jinsol is the other dog, and he's over here. He's deciding to be off camera. Evidently, he's not a union member yet. So in this video, we're going to go over the benefits of petting your dog. And most people say, well, of course, petting your dog is easy. I practice what I call petting with a purpose. Anything our dog is doing when we pet it is what we're reinforcing and amplifying. Probably the most common mistakes people make with their dog is they pet it at the wrong time. So if your dog is nervous and you pet it to try to console it, which is a very natural human thing to do, we're going to actually amplify the dog's anxiety. Same thing with fear, stress, insecurities, things along those lines. Now, if a dog is stressed out, I can put my hand on the dog and let the dog know I'm here with you. Dogs do associate touch with affection without amplifying it. But if I start petting, then I'm going to amplify the exact thing I'm trying to help the dog get over. Now, dogs have self-esteem and confidence just like we do. And a lot of times we want to do everything for our dog to show them how much we love them. And this is also something it's a trait that a lot of human females get in trouble, because human females have maternal instincts, and they, not only generalizing every woman, but a lot of women like doing little acts of kindness for the people that they love. They make them some cookies, they make them a little piece of art, they write a nice a soliloquy they put on their Facebook page or whatever. Now, we a lot of times take them for granted. We should revere them and respect them a lot more. And when we think about it, we do appreciate them, and we understand the sentiment. For dogs, however, unconditional love is almost looked at as a weakness. Oh my God, my humans are they're so lovely, but man, they are so not street smart. They're gonna get taken advantage of. Now, a lot of my clients, their dogs don't have any rules and structure. These dogs do have some rules. But petting a dog at the wrong time or trying to love my dog to show affection actually backfires for dogs. And these are two big distinctions between human psychology and dog psychology. So I'm going to talk about petting now, but it's just important. Petting is wonderful. We want to pet as much as possible, but we also want to pay attention to when and what's going on when we're petting the dogs. I love this energy they're together, which the walking, I think, helped her. Okay, so for petting with a purpose, if the dog comes up and nudges me or scratches at me or jumps up on me for attention, it's telling me what to do. If I reach out and pet it, now I'm rewarding and amplifying that particular behavior. This is why most dogs jump up when they're puppies. They jump up on our shins and we reach down and we pet them. Well, what we're telling the dog is, I like it when you jump up on my shin. That's the best way to get me to pet you. So, and a lot of dogs get conditioned to actually do the wrong thing, because validation, attention from us is validating, and they don't make much of a distinction between good attention and bad attention. So if I steal a remote control, the humans instantly chase me around the house. So now I've been trained to do something that the humans consider bad, because that's the best way to get their attention. And when I come and sit in front of my humans, they don't do anything. So, well, if I want attention, I'm going to do what gets attention. So for petting with a purpose, if the dog comes and nudges you, it's telling you what to do. And if you pet it, you're reinforcing, yes, you're in charge of me. But then we don't listen to them the rest of the time, and that stresses the dogs out. So what we want to do is we want the dogs to start earning their affection and attention. So the dog comes up and nudges me, nothing happens other than me telling the dog to sit. If he's already sitting, I might ask him to come and sit over here, or ask him to lie down. As soon as he sits or lies down, I'm going to pet him, and I'm going to exclusively say the command word. In this case, sit. Now, if you haven't taught your dog the command word for the action, try to come up with fun command words. Dogs can read your facial expression. So if you say, lotus to mean sit down, or a yoga position or something like that, and people laugh, your dog can tell that made people happy, and it invigorates the dog and makes them want to do it again. So try to come up with funny command words whenever possible. Something that's like an inside joke between you and your family and your people. So as soon as the dog sits, I pet it under its chin and say the word sit, and only the word sit. I don't say sitties or good sit or, oh, what a smart dog you are, you sat down. That's way too many words. Just saying sit is analogous to the action of sitting down. So what will happen after a while, the dog's going to realize, if I come up and tell the human what to do, nothing happens anymore. But if the human gives me a counter order and I do it, I immediately get petted. Now you have 3 seconds to correct or reward your dog, so make sure you're doing it right away. And pet under the chin and say just the word, and also be careful how you say it. Some people say sit, when the dog sits, they go sit. Those sound like completely different words. So say just the same command word and the same inflection both times. And again, make it do something first, and then after that you can pet it for 8 hours. I have people message me on the internet a lot, who are you to tell people not to pet their dogs? Because I would say, even if you just want to pet your dog and your dog's not demanding attention, still ask it to do something. And most people aren't going to do this all the time, but if you do this, you're creating structure. If you tell the human what to do, nothing happens. But if the human tells you what to do, you get rewarded. So now the dog has motivation to listen to you. It's reinforcing that you are in the leadership position, they're in the follower position. And after enough repetition, the dog realizes, you know what? If I want attention from the human, I have to pay for it. And I pay for it through a currency of obedience. And what will happen is the dog will start coming in front of you and sitting down to prepay for attention. And what it does, make sure you do reach over, recognize the dog, and pet it for doing so. Otherwise, it'll go back to scratching or nudging you. Now, I had a woman in Santa Monica I was telling this to, and she's in the middle of petting her dog, and the dog's on the couch next to her, and I'm like, all right, and she goes, well, I have a question. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask you to stop petting your dog. She goes, okay, what if I just want to pet the dog? You're petting your dog again. I'm sorry, that's okay, just don't pet your dog until we get done talking this. Okay, but if I'm the human, I shouldn't have to ask my dog to sit. I got the dog because you're petting your dog again. 3 times in 15 seconds, me explicitly telling her not to, and her intending not to pet her dog. She involuntarily reached over and did so. So I have a watchword for this, I call it paycheck. So if one of the partners comes in and sees that they're petting the dog and the dog is standing, you assume the person forgot to ask the pet with a purpose. And that other person should say paycheck, and the person who's petting the dog shouldn't argue. If you argue, it tells the dogs, oh, you're on your own page, I can be on my own page too. So I'm petting the dog, somebody says paycheck, I stop, I say sit. When the dog sits, I pet on his chin, say sit, and I actually say, I asked him to sit before he came out of the bathroom, and he flushed the toilet, he stood up, and I continued petting. That's allowed. But it will help each other because you won't realize how often you did it. Now, after a while, the dog will come and sit in front of you to prepay for that attention and ask for that attention. When it does it, like I said, make sure you recognize, pet it, and say just the command word. Now, the more that you do this, the more inclined the dog is going to be to sit when you ask it to sit. Now, this leads me to something that I call passive training. Passive training is waiting for the dog to offer you a desired behavior voluntarily, without any influence from you whatsoever. You're not luring, no trick, no hand signals. Just when the dog comes to me on its own accord, I'm going to pet it and say, come. If the dog sits down next to me, I'm going to set it, pet it, and say, sit. If it lays down, I'm going to pet it and say, crash. Fun words, that's the word I use. And then after a while, the dog will start figuring this out and will start, again, every time I come to her, I get attention. One of the guardians told me that the dog's recall is not very good. Well, if every time I ask the dog to come to me, I put the leash on and then we leave the dog park or we leave wherever we're at, after a while, the human's going to give me a buzzkill command. Now, if we're at the dog park, a lot of dogs, they'll go and they'll play, and after they'll come and check in. Hey, how's it going? Pet them and say the word come, and then let them go back to playing. So now we're isolating the action with the command word and the reward, but we're not trying to influence the dog. This way we take out the equation whether the dog wants to come or not. We just wait for the dog to do it on their own. I have a watchword for this as well. I call it recognize or testify if you want to use a funner word. So if somebody says testify to me, remember you have 3 seconds to correct or reward the dog. So somebody sees the dog, approaches me, and I missed it. They tell me testify, that's 2 seconds now. I have now 1 second to start petting the dog. If I ask what am I petting, I blew my opportunity. So if somebody sees the dog come up and they say testify, I look at the dog. If it's standing, I assume it just came to me, I pet it and say come. If it's sitting, I pet it and say sit. If it's laying down, I pet it and say crash. And so now we're rewarding the dog for desired actions and behaviors. Most dogs try to do things to make us happy, but we do a really poor job of telling them what they can do to make us happy. Well, now we're putting it in context. We're using just the command word, not even good sit, not the dog's name, just sit. And so now we're associating those things and we're taking away the baggage of, do I want to sit because there's a human here or because we're going for a walk or because we're going to leave the dog park? No, I'm just waiting for the dog to do it. And every time the dog does it, it gets that reward. Now, if I were to ask the dogs, what can you do to make your guardians happy? They're like, well, they like it when I sit, come, lay down, eat my food, poop, go up, go down, go here, go there. We've created a command, this is north and that's south. So when the humans are eating, we could separate the dogs and have them go to different spots. And every time that one of the dog comes over here on its own, we should say the word north. Just for him, because this is only his word. If we have a treat, we can go over and give him the treat. But if we don't, we just say the word north. Don't even get up and pet him. It'd be nice if we could pet him. That's a stronger reward. But even if he just comes here and hears the word sit, that resonates with him. So if you get in a habit of petting your dog with a purpose and rewarding your dog for desired actions and behaviors through passive training, every time you pet your dog, it becomes a micro training session that you'll do without even being aware of the fact that you're doing it. Not only that, but every time you pet your dog, you build up your dog's respect for you as a leader and reinforce it being a follower. And that's a healthy way for a dog to go through life. I think both of these dogs are stressed out. We have a dog that's older, that's had some bad issues when he was younger, and he's lashing out the younger one. The younger one is on edge now because of the older one, and I think that they were a little bit confused as their position in the house because they were able to ask for attention. Now, one last little thing on petting a dog. If I'm petting one dog and the second dog comes up, do you pet them both? If I'm petting Jinsol and Sadie comes up, do you pet them both then?
Yeah, sometimes.
So if I'm petting Jinsol and giving him my full attention, then Sadie comes up and I'm petting her too, now I'm letting her steal some of the affection I was giving to him. So what I do is pet one. When the other one comes up, I hook their collar with my thumb and I kind of stiff arm them and I continue petting the first dog. When I get done, if the second dog didn't protest, then I turn and give it my full attention. If it protested, it doesn't get any attention. It can't tell me what to do. And also be wary of if I'm petting one dog and it's right here and the other dog comes and just kind of pushes its way through, it's trying to block you and take that affection. So you want to be careful because I don't like using negative reinforcement, and we don't want to cause a fight. These dogs are fighting from time to time, which is why this is unusual and awesome. But sometimes I push one dog away, that might be the catalyst that caused that. So what I would do is maybe step around over here or have you call the second dog so he comes over to you and you can continue petting. But we don't want to reward the dog for cutting off that second dog because that's going to reward that behavior and they're going to continue doing it.
They actually do sit like that often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It's unusual for dogs that fight for that to be the case, but this is a good sign. All right, well, this is Jinsol, and this is Sadie, and these are some tips on how you can use positive reinforcement and pet your dog to train them.